Hello everyone, welcome to the next edition of Application Packaging Experts Roundtable from Flexera. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. In this session, everybody is muted for the entire session. However, there is a Q&A section towards the right, and you'll be able to send your questions, and we can address those questions either contextually or we'll take these questions towards the end. And as usual, a video will be provided after the event in an email. So with that, let me welcome today's speakers. Myself, I'm Venkat, and I've been the product management director at Flexera for a while now, and I overlook our application packaging space or application readiness space with AdminStudio and Workflow Manager. I have with me Mike O'Connor, who is our senior solution engineer with AdminStudio with tons of experience around application readiness.
Hello.
And this is the agenda we're going to cover for today. So we wanted to cover a little bit about the current state of Intune and the configuration manager, how and where customers are and users are with using configuration manager in Intune. A little bit about the background of what they are as well. And we'll also talk about migration and some of the challenges that users face with migration of applications from configuration manager to Intune, and how AdminStudio can help with this migration process. And towards the end, we'll share our plans with what we're doing this year. We'll start with what's new in the 2025 R1 release of AdminStudio, and we'll also share with you a few highlights of what we're going to focus for the rest of the year. So with that, let's get started with the current state of configuration manager and Intune, right? So let's go back a little bit. Configuration manager has been popular for several years and continues to remain popular, and a key pillar for managing large fleets of devices within enterprise environments, right? There are several reasons why it became a popular choice. For one, to begin with, it's a comprehensive endpoint management solution. It is loved by IT pros for managing desktop servers, sometimes mobile devices, though it hasn't evolved as people would have thought on configuration manager. For those mobile devices on prem, they were it was a really good solution. And it provided seamless software deployments, operating system imaging, patch management. Sometimes in some cases that it's also helped with inventory tracking, what's installed where and everything. And it used to be at the center place of enterprise IT operations. And coming to patch management, configuration manager played a really key role in having a robust deployment and patch management. And that's one of the reasons why IT pros continue to love configuration manager. And its deep integration with the Windows ecosystem. It's built for Windows, naturally. Though it had later in the cycle, it had support for Android, iOS, and everything. But I think the at the core of configuration manager, it was built from ground up to work with Windows operating systems. Its trust and familiarity with the entire ecosystem, along with some advanced features like driver management or OS provisioning. This is the some of the reasons why it was the go-to tool for any IT pro for an endpoint management system. And over a period of time, there are several functionality that was added to configuration manager, and making it having granular control and customization options, which made it really popular for IT admins to actually use and deploy applications and manage patches. Now, while configuration manager continued to be evolve, Microsoft saw the need for a cloud-based solution, right? And then it started developing Intune. Though Intune was originally developed only for mobile devices, over a period of time, it started to have all the bells and whistles of what configuration manager has. And at that point of time, we all loved the approach Microsoft took, which is a cloud first and a mobile first approach. So it was designed with a modern distributed workspace in mind, unlike configuration manager, which is an on-prem solution. Intune leverages the cloud to manage its devices anywhere. Either it is on-prem devices or to facilitate people who are working in remote environments and all of that. And another key attribute of Intune, which is it started the concept of unified endpoint management. It brought what people used to call as mobile device management, mobile application management, all under a single console. And going back to the first point, which is a cloud first unified endpoint management. And over a period of time, there was several functionality added in Tune as well, which is supporting not just Windows operating systems, but Mac OS, iOS, and Android, all within the same framework. And Intune continues to evolve, and as it continued to evolve, there was so many security and compliance features as well added, and there was a tight integration with Azure Active Directory and Microsoft Defender. So with these reasons, configuration manager, continues to be there. It is still, loved by a lot of IT pros, but the next gen, organizations were trying to set up something from scratch. I think Intune became, the de facto standard for people to start using any endpoint management system. Um, so with that, if you think about it, we what we have seen in our experience is we have seen some of our users move away from configuration manager and start adopting Intune in full-fledged manner. There's several customers of us who are in this process or transition stage, okay, where they want to someday leave configuration manager behind and move to Intune completely. And there are organizations where they see the merit of having both of them for the foreseeable future. They don't have any decommissioning plans of configuration manager, but then there are several teams who want to migrate completely Intune as an endpoint management system. Why Intune? I think we talked about the benefits. It's a cloud first approach towards endpoint management system, multi-device platform support, not just for Windows, but Mac OS applications, iOS applications, Android, supporting the unified endpoint management with mobile application management, mobile device management, and all of that. And it has a very seamless. I mean, being cloud first, it also has provides seamless integration with Azure Active Directory and some of the modern security features. And last but not the least, since it's touted as the next gen endpoint management system, it continues to get the love and investment from Microsoft, and it has a continuous innovation from Microsoft, and not just keep the lights on. So with this, what we have seen in their experience is, people transitioning from, for those customers who are transitioning from, configuration manager to Intune, it's a big, hassle, or it's a big exercise. I wouldn't say call it hassle, but it's a big exercise for users managing applications from a legacy system to a modern system. So, I'd now hand off to, my colleague here, Mike, okay, who can, talk about, how you can migrate your applications from config manager to Intune using AdminStudio. Over to you, Mike.
Great. Thanks, Venkat. Yeah, so as mentioned, so for those customers that are looking, you can do Config Manager and Intune in different ways, but some have decided that Intune meets their needs and they'd rather go with a cloud-first solution. So for those that were on Config Manager before, there's the process of moving all their applications from Config Manager and putting it into Intune. So that's what AdminStudio has through its migration wizard. It's able to automatically go through that process. You can select which applications that are in Config Manager today that you want to migrate to Intune. If you're familiar with Intune and the formats that it supports, it natively supports MSI and MSIX packages, but it doesn't support anything else. So a lot of times you'll have executable installations. Those will first have to be wrapped or converted into what's called the .intune win format before it can be published in Intune. So the migration wizard in AdminStudio will convert all those packages that need it into Intune Win. You have the option, if you want to convert MSI and MSIX packages into Intune Win as well, you can, up to you. So you can, AdminStudio will perform that. It'll pull all the app model data from Config Manager and use it to configure things like the dependencies and supersettings and the installation command line switches for Intune. And then it'll leverage the application catalog, which is a SQL database that AdminStudio utilizes. It's kind of its workspace that you use to perform anything that you need to do to prepare applications. it uses that as the kind of a halfway point, migrating packages out of Config Manager, performing these actions, converting to Intune Win, and then publishing it to Intune. And then you could use the catalog to manage applications moving forward. So if you're new to AdminStudio, especially, you don't have a catalog set up, this could be used as one method to start populating the catalog. And then over time, as new releases come out, you could look at things like PFM is our package feed module. That's a collection of thousands of applications that Flexera is watching for and updating every day. And you can set up scheduled tasks to check in and download the latest versions of these applications and automatically prepare them. This migration could be a starting off point for that too. So let me go ahead and share my environment. I'll show you a quick demonstration of what this migration wizard looks like. And Venkat, just let me know that's showing up for you, right?
Yes, Mike, you can see.
Yep, great. So you can see I've got a config manager environment, and in my applications, I have some applications already published and set up in config manager. And I also, if I go over to my Intune area, I can see I've got a few applications, but they were all added a while ago. So it's been a bit. So I want to migrate some of these applications to Intune. So if I go over to my AdminStudio instance, I have AdminStudio here set up. I have AdminStudio connected to both Configuration Manager and to Intune. So there's a process where you'd set up a distribution system connection to both of those systems. For Intune being a cloud-based solution, there is a one-time process. You set up API access, so AdminStudio can talk to Intune. We have all this in our documentation, but you set up a connection to Config Manager, another one to Intune. And then what I can do is up here, I can select Migration Wizard. I select the Configuration Manager and Intune environments that I have. I could have other Config Manager environments. Maybe I have production and test. So you select which instance you want. It's going to find those applications that I have in Config Manager. I'm going to just select 3 just to show the time so we can show it quickly. More applications you convert, the more time it'll take. The bigger the applications, of course, the more to download, prepare, and send up. So I'll just choose 7-zip, which is an MSI here, and I'll choose Dell Command Update and FileZilla. Those are both executable applications in Config Manager. And then you can see at the bottom here, convert selected MSI to Intune Win. So that's the option. If some organizations we talk to like to just wrap everything or convert everything into Intune Win. That way it's consistent across the board. They have the same configuration information. You can do that. Or for MSI packages, you can choose to just publish directly. It's up to you. So I'm going to choose these 3 applications, hit next. Choose where the kind of the temporary holding location in Config Manager or where I'm going to put this. I created this folder called Migration Wizard just to make it easier to see where it is. So I'm going to choose that. You can also have it create subgroups. So when it imports applications, you can have a directory structure like the vendor name and then application and so on and so forth if you want. I'll just keep it simple and unselect that one. So I'll choose Migration Wizard here. Gives me a summary. I'm going to pull from Config Manager for each of those 3 applications. They're going to get downloaded. They're going to get added to this Migration Wizard folder here in the catalog. For Dell and FileZilla, they're both executable, so they're both going to be wrapped or converted into Intune Win. And then for each of them, they'll each get published into Intune. And we'll see in a couple of minutes, we'll see them show up here. So I'll kick this process off. And in the meantime, I think we had a couple of polls we wanted to go through, right, Venkat? Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a poll. There you go. So we had a poll. We wanted to get your feedback for the attendees on here. So where are you on your, as it says there, Microsoft Endpoint Management journey? And again, keep in mind, there's no wrong answers here because whether you stay on Config Manager or migrate to Intune or use them both together, it's really based off of your organization's needs and your requirements. So any of them are all valid options. We're just curious where you're at. So yeah. So if you can take some time, the poll I think is should see it on the on your right hand side, and yeah, just take a minute or so and start providing the questions or providing an answer there. And I think I see on the, so it looks like, yeah, we'll just give it some more time, but looks like a majority of people are using it in kind of a co-managed format, which is perfectly fine. That's how Microsoft designed it. And there's definitely use cases where Config Manager and Intune can work together. So. So give it a few more moments. All right, so that's a good, I think, a good enough time to response. So yeah, it looks like almost half of the folks on the call are doing it in a co-managed space. So very cool. All right, and then we got a second poll we're going to jump to get some more feedback from you. And this one, we were just kind of curious for the folks that are on the call. What is your role? And this is a multiple choice. So if you do multiple things, we know a lot of IT professionals we talk to have multiple hats. So just kind of curious, what roles are you? Strictly preparing applications, or are you helping with the initial quality assurance or smoke testing, help managing the user acceptance testing? Are you in charge of publishing applications, setting up collections or assignment groups, deploying apps? So, or, multiple. You might be, like I said, wearing multiple hats there, managing updates too. So just curious where your duties lie. Because like I said, often we hear, I'd say small, medium-sized businesses, it's one person doing pretty much all these steps. And then larger organizations, they sometimes have a separated responsibility. So they have a dedicated packaging team, dedicated deployment team, but sometimes it's a mix. So just wanted to understand where your role lies. So, all right, we'll let that run for a little bit longer. Curious on your feedback. Not surprising. Looks like the majority of you are involved with packaging, which that's what this webinar is all about. So that makes sense.
I love the last option as well. Managing collections and assignment groups. There's
Right.
one feedback that we really wanted to get from this. Thanks a lot for everybody who has voted today. We are looking, while we talk about continuing to innovate around how we can bridge the gap between when an application enters AdminStudio's application catalog till the time it actually reaches an endpoint system. So we were really curious to find out whether any of your roles actually overlap with actual deployment. Whether you play a key role in creating, managing, and and deleting assignment groups for that matter, or the actual deployment of the application.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. All right, I guess we can close that poll. And then what I want to do is jump back real quick to my screen there. Talk through the polls. Let me just go back to my migration and show you the end result. So while we were talking and while we were going through the polls, you can see that the 3 applications I selected are done. You can see they got pulled into Config Manager. So there's my 7-zip. It's an MSI. The other 2 were both executables, so they both had to be converted into Intune Win, and they were. And if I go back to my Intune environment and refresh the page, these 3 that I just added, there's 7-zip, there's Del Command Update, and FileZilla. So just in the matter of time, we were talking 2-3 minutes, we migrated 3 applications. So you can kind of take that idea and scale it up to 20, 50, 100, hundreds, maybe 1,000 or more applications. Let AdminStudio help you with that migration process. And for each of these applications, you can see some more details on things like the install and uninstall information. If I go over to properties, you can see the command line options are there. Return codes are added, requirements are configured. So I didn't have to go through any of that process or doing the conversion into Intune Win. AdminStudio performed that all for you. and then sent it all. I even got detection method rule information, figured all that for you, and did that migration. So if you're thinking about migrating, or even if you just want to synchronize ConfigMgr and Intune together, this is a powerful tool in AdminStudio you can utilize. All right, so I'll turn it over to Venkat, and he can talk about what just came out in the new AdminStudio.
Yeah. So before that, Mike, I think there are a couple of contextual questions, on the demo
Sure.
and the topic you talked about. So, I'll take one question. I'll probably present one question to you. Um, Thanks, Sunny, for answering some of these questions directly. Um, So there's one question around, from Michael. Thank Michael for asking this. We currently do not have an AdminStudio database server setup. Can we still use AdminStudio to connect to our configuration manager and Intune to migrate, or do we need to have the AdminStudio database setup? It's a good question, Michael. We would need to set up the application catalog. The application catalog uses a database in the backend, to store all the app model data and to leverage or to make use of all the full functionality of AdminStudio. We strongly advocate you to set up an application catalog and use that to import your applications and manage your applications, and of course migrate your apps from ConfigMgr to Intune.
Yeah, in other words, it is a requirement because the information to connect to both Configuration Manager and Intune are stored in the catalog. It's the temporary location. So we have to store, it's not just moving the actual binary, installers over, but all the metadata around it, right? The detection methods, requirements, and all that. We need to store that someplace from Config Manager and utilize that same detail when we're publishing to Intune. So the application catalog provides that database, that source to store that data for that migration. So yeah, an application catalog is required for this migration process.
All right. So there's one more question from Kurt. So Kurt asks, where does the conversion write temporary files to? So let me take this, Mike. So Kurt, because we talked about AdminStudio's application catalog being the centerpiece between Configuration Manager and Intune. So the applications first come into AdminStudio's catalog, and from there they go through the process of getting published to Intune. So during the process, if a repackaging is required, if a conversion is required to Intune, and all of that is happening on the AdminStudio machine. And when you set up an application catalog, you provide a location for where the packages should be residing as the payload. So that is where that is something that you can call as the temporary location, where it's actually the catalog location where the applications will be residing. The reason why we bring over the applications to the catalog is for future management of the application versions. Let's say you got foobar 1.0 into the catalog, which you wanted to migrate from Config Manager to Intune. The fact that it actually resides in the catalog gives you the flexibility to get the latest version using our package feed module, and further manage the life cycle of the subsequent versions right from AdminStudio without having to go to Configuration Manager.
Yeah, but in essence, you can specify the location on which the packages are stored for the migration, and so that's user selectable. So have a file share somewhere to store those packages and perform that migration. And I see there's a question about migrating. Can PowerShell deploy toolkit packages that are already in Config Manager be migrated? The answer would be yes, you can migrate those too. So EXEs, be it self-contained EXE installers or the EXE that points to a PowerShell app deploy toolkit package, both can be migrated, as well as MSI packages from Config Manager. Cool. All right, Venkat, turn it to you.
So we talked about, we just released, I think last month, we released our first release of the year. It's called AdminStudio 2025 R1. And we wanted to, show some highlights of, what the release entails. So to start with, the first one in the payload is deploying applications to Configuration Manager endpoints, directly. So, this goes back to the poll question, where we were talking about how AdminStudio can not just publish your applications to and the endpoint management systems, either Configuration Manager, Intune, or Workspace ONE, and all of that. But we also wanted to see how Administrator can help with the entire life cycle of the application. So we started this journey last year with Intune, where we had the support for Intune assignment groups. You could not just repackage, manage, edit the custom command lines, or install or uninstall command lines of the application, but you could also create what Intune calls as assignment groups, and then publish the application, which not just takes care of publish the application to Intune, but also goes ahead and deploys the application to the endpoint. So a similar support is now added to Configuration Manager as well, where you'll be able to in the Configuration Manager, it's called a collection. So we'll be able to assign an application to a collection, and therefore it will be deployed on the endpoint and the end device as well. The second one being enhanced automation scheduling. So we have automation scheduling at this point of time, but we have made some very subtle and you know um, fine improvements to this scheduling. So you can not just automate tasks, but there is some flexibility included, which is, hey, start some task or start a schedule with like second day of every month, right? Or multiple dates in a month. So that flexibility is now added in AdminStudio. You can go to the application catalog options, where you can find the scheduling options, and you can schedule them. And the next one is support for Azure Government Cloud. We support Azure to a large extent, but apparently the Azure Government is a different support to be added. So what we did was we now support the Azure Government Cloud as well, for several US government agencies for the packaging needs. And if you move towards the right, okay, the first item we have is the publishing Mac packages to Workspace ONE. We already have the support of publishing, full support for Workspace ONE, and for a traditional Windows setup. But then there's also requests coming in from our customers to publish Mac packages to Workspace ONE right from application catalog, AdminStudio's catalog. And the next item, okay, is significant item, which is supporting for HSM signing, for MSIX packages. So MSIX packages have this need of or a need or a mandate, okay, to say, hey, every package should be digitally signed, for them to be installable on an endpoint. However, in the last couple of years, we've been working with some of our partners as well, to see that the entire digital signing area has changed, where there was a conventional way of signing using a certificate. Okay, certificates used to be shipped to customers, and all of that has changed, and increased security has mandated users to move on to what the industry calls as HSM, or EV based signing, and all of that. Now if you look at the current support for AdminStudio, we have the provision to browse for a PFX file, extract the digital certificate information from it, and attach that to the binary that is going to be installed, either the MSIX or the binaries within that. However, with the evolution of digital signing to HSM and extended validation certificates, this is not simply not possible. So what we've done is we've done something called as custom signing, so that we're not bound to any single technology, but with the help of signtool.exe or any other a binary or an exe that does the digital signing process, we will now be able to go ahead and sign any package. So this is available as an option as custom signing in the same wizard for signing the MSX packages. Last but not the least, we have a new dialog right within AdminStudio, or an experience within AdminStudio, where you can request for a new package or an application to be added to our package feed module. So though we take pride in the kind of size that we have in the catalog of package feed module, we often get into requests that, hey, I this particular application or a version is not included in your catalog, can you please go ahead and add it for me, right? But then there is friction over there, where the users would have to go to a case portal from Flexera, and then submit a case, and then it goes through a cycle and all of that. And we understand the fact that the users who's actually using AdminStudio may or may not have access to the case portal. So what we did is we removed this friction by having an in-app request form within AdminStudio, where users can request for new package requests, providing certain details, and the entire tracking can be done right within AdminStudio. So in the back end, it would it would create a case and reach out to a support team, and the support team can converse with the user offline, and the status, if it is accepted or rejected for a new package request, can be tracked right within AdminStudio. So these are some of the highlights in the release that was shipped in April 2025. And we also wanted to give a sneak peek of what we're currently working on, or what our current focus areas are for the rest of the year. And the first one, seems so obvious, because the PowerShell app deploy kit has now a new version, 4.0. We are upgrading this functionality to support PowerShell app deploy kit to 4.0. And next one is also something that we do every year, and as soon as the new version of Install Shell 2025 comes out, Install Shell 2025 R1, would now be integrated into the next release of AdminStudio. And we strongly advise users to stay on the latest, because Install Shield traditionally includes a lot of security fixes in their releases, so that the bootstrap setups that come out of Install Shield do not contain any security vulnerabilities. And the next one is scope tag support for Intune. Has been uh, a long pending item, and frequently asked item from some of our customers. So we will have the support for creating, editing, or deleting scope tags for Intune right from AdminStudio. So this probably closes the loop around the app model data. There is some more app model data that we need to add for Intune support, but scope tags continue to remain the topmost ask for Intune app model data. And the next one is configuration manager to Intune migration, support for multiple deployment types. Some of the deployment types are not included in the bulk conversion at this point of time. So we'll go ahead and do the wizard that we have shown previously. So that will further be enhanced for additional deployment types as well. And towards the right, we are committed to ensuring that AdminStudio continues to be a single place, or a single place where you can manage all your application types. Though we have started with Mac package support to Workspace ONE, we will continue that support with ability to push or publish macOS packages to Intune as well. And the next item on package feed module. Uh, Again, though again it goes back to the same point of though we take pride that there has thousands of applications at this point of time, we're always on the constant lookout for how can we improve this catalog, how can we expand this catalog to more and more packages. So we're exploring the support for winget packages, something that is available. We've seen that some of the vendors are really up to date with their applications published to Winget. We were like, why not, why not take use of the publicly available Winget packages, and provide them as curated packages to our customers. And the next one would be improved Intune deployment support. At this point of time, when you create an assignment group in AdminStudio to be deployed for a package to be deployed directly to the endpoint, uh, there is no flexibility with respect to when you want to deploy it. They'll always be deployed ASAP. So there is a provision provided by Intune whether you want to schedule it, or install ASAP. So this is something that we'll be able to add as a part of the assignment groups functionality in Intune in AdminStudio this year. And talking about app model data, we talked about scope tags, and we would like to continue improving on the app model data of with supersedence and dependency support in Intune this year. All right, Mike, do you want to take over from here?
Sure. So that's the topics we wanted to cover today. Please take a look. We'll spend some time on Q&A, see if any other questions came through. But just a plug for the community. So Flexera has a community, and there's an AdminStudio section of that community, so you can check that out. There's forums there. There's course catalogs. So we have free self-paced video courses. We also have interesting links to if you're interested in instructor-led courses as well. There's more Learning Center. Those are the videos you can go through. There's an active forum where Venkat and I are both on there, as well as our support team and others are answering questions. So if you have questions, or you can search the community, and it's very possible your question's already been asked by someone, as well as some other videos and interesting things. So if you haven't already, check out it's community.flexera.com, and you'll see there's a section for AdminStudio there too. And then we're interested in what else you want to hear. So we thought this was a timely subject to talk about Intune and Config Manager. This comes up more and more with our customers, but we're interested in what other topics you may want to check out. So quite a bit long. You can also just search for what should next package expert roundtable topic in our community. But you can go there and you can post what you would like to hear in a future roundtable session. And yeah, maybe we'll go through and select that topic. We're always interested to see what our customers are looking to do. And then we'll have another session probably in the next 3 months or so. So the calendar year fiscal or calendar Q3 this year. So probably in the next few months. So if you want to have a specific topic you want to cover, feel free to post that now. But yeah, let's go through, see if there's other questions that came through.
So just browsing through the questions.
I think there was a question about, can we pull data from Config Manager and populate the catalog? So that's what we're doing with the migration wizard going to Intune. But it pulls not only the package detail, but command line options, has all the detection rules and supersede. So we copy all the app model data out of Config Manager, copy it into the application catalog when we perform the migration, because again, that data is useful and utilized when we actually do a migration to Intune. So we absolutely do that.
Let me add some commentary there. Thanks, Patrick, for the question. So it's not necessary to use a migration wizard that Mike has shown. For you to manage your applications, the import wizard should be able to get all the configuration manager data into the catalog, for your management. And as Mike said, the entire app model data is carried forward. So even if you want to just migrate them and keep them in the catalog and then move them later, you could do that as well. If you don't intend to move it right away, maybe I think in our next session we can show a glimpse of so the basic functionality of setting up a catalog and import some basic applications.
Yeah. And I think there was a question about, so you showed what we plan, and then I think it's the second half of this year, what we're looking at doing. I think we're planning for at least one more release, maybe two. Is that right?
Yeah, so we are striving towards at least once in 4 months. Though don't it always comes with a fine print that payload and timeline are subject to change. But Deepak, thanks for the question. So we are at this point of time committed to doing 3 releases in a year. We would call that R1, R2, and R3 this year. But if something changes, we'll keep our users posted with with a community blog post.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, stay tuned, and if you're on active subscription or maintenance, you'll get those new releases as long as you're an active subscriber or maintenance holder when those new releases come out. So we just had a new release a few weeks ago, and everybody that was on maintenance or subscription, was eligible to get those. So yeah. There's a question with file limitations with the migration wizard. I think really the only limitation is I think Intune has an upper limit. I think it's pretty big though. It used to be like 4 gigs. I think now it's something like 12 or 50 gigs, something like that. So there are some limitations that Intune itself has that, this migration wizard would also be limited in that respect. But I think in terms of the migration wizard itself and what AdminStudio is running, no real limitations there, right? Venkat?
Yeah, no, nothing that we know of, from our side.
Right.
it should just be any limitations from either Configuration Manager or Intune.
Right. Yeah. Awesome.
There's one question: is there a cost to add an application to the catalog? No, Charles. I think we have done away with the primary, the very basic edition, and we now only have the professional and enterprise editions. In both of these, you should be able to set up a catalog and manage your applications in the catalog.
Right. Yeah.
And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. We're happy to handhold you and help you set up a catalog and get some applications into the catalog and show you how it works.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Right, there's one question. I think like we kind of answered this, but I think let me also talk about it for the larger group. Eric here asks, is it possible to install AdminStudio without the application catalog to perform basic application packaging duties? Absolutely. Right. There are tools out there which do not have any binding to the catalog. You don't really need application catalog to repackage something. There is a simple repackager. There is an automated application converter which does bulk repackaging jobs, and there is install shield which can be launched as a standalone utility as well. Having said that, I'm passionate about AdminStudio. We've been building, features and innovation around application catalog for a long time. There is really nothing that there is really nothing that from coming from a repackaging standpoint, Eric, there's really nothing that the repackager does extra when launched from AdminStudio catalog compared to a standalone one. There are certain smoke testing functionality that is available only in the catalog, but the basic repackaging process is exactly the same when you launch it standalone or from the catalog. Now, having said that, we strongly recommend our users to set up a catalog and take full advantage of application management. Completely managing the app model data, publishing to your endpoints and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of AdminStudio as kind of the Swiss Army knife, right? Because what you need to do to prepare a given package is dependent on one, what did you get from the vendor? Did they give you an MSI or an EXE package, or is it an internal app and you have to package it yourself? That's going to determine what you need to do to prepare the app. And also what's your deployment system, ConfigMgr, Intune, maybe something else, how you're going to deploy it out too, and what's your environment require. So since every package could be different in what you need to do, instead of having to jump to different tools and launch those specific tools, the idea is they can all go into the catalog and then you can launch the different tools right from there. So there's a standardization and a repeatable process if you utilize the catalog. So if it's an MSI, you could right click, tell install shield to open up, create a transform file, and you're done right from there. Launch, you can have it launch a virtual machine and go through repackaging or the runtime testing we offered. We do a static analysis testing within the catalog as well. Wrapping's done there. So you've got the idea is get it into set up a catalog, get the application in there, and then you have options depending on what you need to do right from there versus having to know which tool to jump to and which to do, or might have to do it outside of AdminStudio if you're using the catalog. But with the catalog, you can jump to whatever tool, whatever process you need and quickly prepare the application. And something we didn't cover today, but you can set up automation workflows to basically have AdminStudio download new releases. That's using our package feed to download the latest release and then go through those workflows and perform the work for you. So potentially for a given package, you don't have to create the transform file to customize it. You don't have to wrap the application in something like PowerShell. You don't have to convert it into an Intune package. You don't have to publish it to ConfigMgr or Intune. AdminStudio would do all those steps for you. So not everything maybe will be automated, but for those that we have all the information and we have those steps defined, let AdminStudio run it from there. And then you can spend your time on those more complex applications or all the other duties that you've got going on. So that's the idea with AdminStudio. By setting up a catalog, you enable yourself to set up, to launch different tools, but also to be able to automate and perform those actions that way too.
Um, there's one question from Mark. Does a migration wizard only accept applications, or does it support packages as well? Uh, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at this point of time we support applications.
Yeah, it's just the application, because the applications have the application model has that information around things like has not only the install and uninstall. Packages are pretty straightforward. It's just run a program, whatever it may be. Where the application model has other details that we'd want to use in order to do the migration to Intune to automate it. We could certainly still import packages into a catalog, but the migration wizard, you need more than just the package. You need more details in order to automate it to Intune. So for those packages, if you've got packages you want to migrate, you'd import them into AdminStudio, configure it within the catalog, configure those details, and then you could publish them potentially in bulk to ConfigMgr. But there's a bit more steps, a little bit more configuration involved if you're pulling from there, because you don't have all the details in the package format or the package model that you do with the application model. So at least today, the migration wizards just supports the application model because of that. And there was a question about hosting the application catalog potentially in a cloud system. You could set up, and we heard from more and more, IT teams want to set up a cloud-based infrastructure instead of leveraging on-prem. AdminStudio natively supports Azure, and both the Azure SQL service as well as Azure virtual machines for use with our automated application converter tool that's used to automate the process of spinning up VMs for repackaging, capturing installers, and turning from one format to another. It's also used for the runtime testing. So you can use Azure virtual machines for that, and Azure SQL Service to host the database if you want to. You could install it in other environments if you're using like AWS. Today, we don't have native support for it, so it would be something where you set up all the infrastructure, the SQL Server, and that. But that should work as long as all the network connectivity is there. But Azure specifically, we do have some native support for that cloud system in setting up AdminStudio and running it there.
There's one question about from James. You have mentioned Workspace ONE for macOS support. Are there any plans to work with JAMF as well? We do support JAMF on-prem. I think if I'm not wrong. However, we're currently working towards how we can support the JAMF cloud. We haven't completely finished the analysis. That's the reason why you don't see it in our H2 slides. But we are actively working towards how we can support this, because for all of this to work, okay, there needs to be extensive API support available from that from the endpoint management system as well. But thanks for asking the question, James. I think your request seems to be in line with what we are currently planning for. So we are currently on the lookout for how we can support for JAMF Pro on the cloud.
All right. I think there were some other questions about configuration or some more details on save locations. We'll follow up with you. We have all the questions and the information, so if we didn't answer it today, we'll certainly follow up with you soon and get some more. Some of it, we just need more detail before we can give you an answer. So, but yeah, we'll follow up with you, anybody that if we didn't answer any questions or follow-ups on it.
There is some interest on automation and workflows. Thanks a lot for asking the question, Tal. So, we'll figure out if we can really send, some demo videos or some previous videos on automation that we have. If not, we strongly recommend you to, make a comment in our community, and we'll be able to respond to that, quickly with a demo video that we have already.
Yep. It's another plug for our community. Both ask us if there's additional topics you want to cover, but it's a great place to search and see what other questions have been asked, and then pose your own questions. And like I said, we have we try to get to an answer at every question that comes within a short period of time. So if there's any additional questions, again, we'll follow up with the folks for this session. But if there's any other questions you may want to ask now or in the future, please check out our community and ask there.